Welcome to Monday here at Crain & Company. To my left, former Michigan quarterback David Cohn. To my right, former Western State, Colorado wide receiver Blaine Crain. Have a fun show for you guys today as we debate who is the player of the year so far in college basketball between Johni Broome and Cooper Flagg. Is Shedeur Sanders smart for not throwing at the NFL Combine? And we're going to update you on Joe Lunardi's latest bracketology that he posted as we get closer to March Madness. Blaine, tell the good people about the chat.
You're supposed to win the lottery, right?
Yeah, playing the lottery for the first time. Going to win $181 million Tuesday. So
good, really
excited about that.
All right, Chad, hit that like, hit that subscribe button. If you donate on topic, it will get read. If you donate at all, it will get read at the end of the show. We're going to have multiple polls today where you get to decide the winner. I'm going to be really nice to my brother today in case he does win that lottery Tuesday. Coney, what's going on with you, dude?
Tomorrow we have a brand new episode of Locker Room Talk, and this Friday we have the Hot Take Hotline. You can call in this Friday, 60 seconds, share your hottest take.
God, that Hansel's so hot right now. All right, get ready for a great Monday here on Crain & Company. We can make $59 million work. As of right now, Johni Broome should be the National Player of the Year in college basketball. And while Cooper Flagg is incredible, and I think he's a better NBA prospect than Johni, that's not what this award is about. It's not a race to see who's going to get drafted higher. Now, the reason that Broome should be the front runner isn't solely because of the numbers either, because they are pretty close when you look at them. Broome, on one hand, is averaging 19.8 points a game, 10.5 rebounds, 2.8 blocks per game, and shooting 58% from the field, while Flagg is sitting there with 19.5 points per game, over 7.5 rebounds, over 2 blocks, and he's shooting 47% from the field. So if the numbers don't overwhelmingly decide it, because the difference isn't that big, then the peripheral anecdotes have to be the deciding factor. Johni Broome plays on the best team in the country, in the best league in the country. I don't think anybody out there would argue that the SEC isn't by far and away better than what the ACC is this year. And if we play the take the player away from the team game, I think Duke would be better than Auburn if both of these guys were not on their respective teams. Now, Flagg does a ton well. Nobody's denying that. But Broome, as a front court player, does everything well. He demands double teams in the post, which opens up everything on the offensive end. He has alien vision when it comes to passing. Now, Duke did beat Auburn at Cameron Indoor, but even in that game, Broome matched Cooper. He ended up with 20 and 12. So, things can change. There's still time left. But as of today, as we sit here right now, Johni Broome is the most valuable player in college basketball. David Cohn, I think we had an argument between Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, kind of talking about how the numbers are somewhat similar, or there's not just this huge gap, then you have to look at other ancillary things. When you look at Cooper Flagg and Duke and Johni Broome at Auburn, who do you have as your National Player of the Year?
Head-to-head. Head-to-head has to matter, okay? He already won the head-to-head. Cooper Flagg. Do you, as the College Football Playoff Committee, not care at all about it?
If it was one-on-one,
I've gotten my calendar mixed up. I'm just kidding. Let's just back up one second. I want people to understand the two main Player of the Year awards, Naismith Award and the Wooden Award, are two completely different awards, but the same player wins most of the time. I do want to say that the Wooden Award does include GPA and academics and such, and your character plays into that. Naismith doesn't have a byline for that. Although I will say what's interesting, because I was looking this up earlier, nowhere that I can see does the term most valuable player get mentioned, because to your point on the Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, they're literally vying for the MVP. Now, I do want you to bring up the stats, because we do have a graphic of the stats. Before we get to that, though, I wanted to ask, you guys know the last player to win either the Wooden or the Naismith, but not the other award? Because every player...
It wasn't Luka Garza, was it?
No, he won both. This goes back to Ed O'Bannon in 1995, won the Wooden, but not the Naismith Award. But that stuck out to me, because now if you hear the name Ed O'Bannon, it's usually with the NCAA lawsuit case that NIL has come from. But all right, there's the stats right there. For points per game, 19.7 for Cooper Flagg, 18 for Johni Broome, pretty close. Obviously, more rebounds per game for Johni Broome with 11. And so he's averaging a double-double, 50% from the floor. Cooper Flagg a little less with 48.6.
And again, like those numbers to me are close enough where if you were like, we're just going off the numbers, and they play different positions too. That's one thing we got to understand. Cooper obviously handles the ball out on the perimeter a lot more than what Johni does, even though Johni can go out in the perimeter and Cooper can back you down and play in the post because I believe he's about 6'7". I'm looking at the competition and the schedule.
That's really interesting because usually you would look at this and say, well, Duke undoubtedly plays in the tougher basketball conference.
That's not the case.
Now, historically, the ACC is having a historically bad year in basketball, where the SEC is having the best year they've ever had. So that's one interesting point that I think a traditional basketball fan might not be caught up on here.
Yeah, Blaine, what do you think?
It's just so tough. I mean, what matters? And we get we always get in this debate. Do stats matter?
I think all of it matters.
Okay. Do you think Johni Broome off of Auburn would have a bigger impact if you take Cooper Flagg off Duke? Hasn't Auburn won quad one games without Johni Broome?
Yeah, well, I can't remember if they were quad one. I think the Mississippi State one was a quad one, and then it wasn't a quad one, and then they won at Georgia without Johni, which I don't think was a quad one win on the road. But, and I'm not trying to downplay what Auburn has around them. Auburn is really good
5 guys
around
double
Johni Broome. But when you look at Duke, and again, I think you got to look at Duke in the ACC, right? Like if you put Auburn in the ACC without Johni Broome, okay, like that's a different argument. But when you're playing the competition that Auburn is on the reg every single day, whether it's Tuesday, whether it's Wednesday, whether it's Saturday, I feel like his value to the team. I mean, look at the game, just what they had against Georgia at home. Auburn didn't play great around him. Johni Broome had 31, 14, 3 blocks, 5 assists, and Cooper's magnificent. It's just when you take into account stats, when you take into account the conference and the strength of schedule, not that Duke's strength of schedule in the non-conference was bad, it wasn't. But Auburn is having a historic year when it comes to resume and what it takes. But I do think when you look at Duke in the ACC, if you took Cooper Flagg off, Proctor's still going to be fine. Konkanippel's still going to be fine. Malawatch is still going to be fine. You look at Sion James. I think Johni Broome is more valuable to Auburn overall than what Cooper Flagg is.
How much should the tournament weigh into this? We talked about this when it came to Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, and then Josh Allen beats Lamar Jackson in the playoffs. The vote happened before that. How much should March play into that if that's the most important time for college basketball?
Well, I can't on one hand sit here and say I think the MVP voting should wait until after the playoff and the Super Bowl is done. And then on the other hand, be like, I think we should just go ahead and vote on it before March Madness. Because I believe the voting time is between March 18th and March 25th, right? So we're not done.
They have again,
for the Wooden Award.
The Wooden and the Naismith do it a little different, but it sounds like so for the Naismith specifically, the final winners are selected by April. So you get it whittled down.
It's one of those things.
I'd be fine with waiting through March Madness because, I think that should be the case in the NFL.
If you're picking for one season, I'm taking Johni Broome. If you're building for a future, I'm taking Cooper Flagg.
Well, but that's what the award would be, though, right?
Yeah, but the award's on one season.
Yeah.
So again, if I was an NBA GM, right, and I went to go pick the best player available in the NBA, I'm taking Cooper Flagg over Johni Broome. But again, that's not what this award is. This award is recognizing the best college basketball player. And we've had guys, and you go back and look who's won the Wooden and the Naismith. We've had years where the guys who won the Wooden and the Naismith, or both, after Ed O'Bannon, didn't go on to have stellar NBA careers, right? Because they're two different things. I've seen guys ball in college and not make it in the NBA. I've seen guys be okay in college and go have great NBA careers. Mm-hmm. I mean, we got to understand what the award is, and I think sometimes that kind of gets lost in translation.
I agree. The poll today was who is the better college basketball player, Johni Broome or Cooper Flagg? This one came in a little bit tight. 58% Johni Broome, 42% Cooper Flagg. That was tight. All right, remember, let's get to the chat. If you hit that like, hit that subscribe button. If you donate, it's on topic. It will get read. We're going to start it off today with SEC Beast Mode with a $10 donation. How can you say Cooper Flagg is better when he hasn't even gone through the SEC grind like Broome has, and that stats didn't show Broome's assist, which he is one of the best in the nation at?
And that's why I brought up passing in the open, because, again, as a big man, I think passing is – and I think this is one of the things Zach Edey got better and better each year, right? I know he struggled passing out of the double team when he was younger. When he was amazing, once he was able to pass out of the double team better, Purdue made it all the way to the national championship game. And, again, I don't want to make this sound like I think that Cooper Flagg is just so much better than what Johni Broome is. But I think the way the college game is and the way the NBA game is different. Now, depending on what you need is what you're going to get. I think Johni Broome is a little bit more of a finesse big. I think Cooper, when you go to the NBA and how that game is officiated and how they play, kind of translates better a little bit. Johni Broome can continue to improve his three-point shooting, which has been a big part of what he's done this season, including here lately. But on the other hand, I do still think there are some questions about Cooper Flagg being this generational talent that a lot of people think that he is. I think when you look at Duke and what they've had to go through in the ACC, have they really been tested? Not nearly as much as Auburn, but it's hard for me, David, to hold that against Cooper Flagg, too. Like, he didn't set the schedule.
No, and they played.
Yeah, and they played. They played. And he had 23, I think.
Good game, yeah. Played solid. $5 donation from the MVP. Appreciate it, man. Who would you trust more in the NCAA tournament, that freshman with hype or the senior leader who's been through the battles?
I'm going to take the older guy. This is the argument, guys, that we had about, when you had a bunch of these one-and-dones and everything happening, in college basketball and how it was kind of, watering down the NCAA tournament or whatever, you always see, and I will say, typically the teams that are older at guard advance further in the NCAA tournament than just having older bigs because the guards can control the tempo and the pace of the game. But Johni does a little bit of both, man.
And one more thing quickly here. There's more to being an upperclassman than just experience. He was on a team that got put out of the tournament by Yale.
For sure.
Like, that means something, too. You're coming back for that. Quickly, what's a good comp in the league right now for Cooper Flagg?
You talking about in the NBA?
Well, for each of them.
Well, you know who for some reason, and they kind of favor each other looking alike. I know their games are a little bit different, but Gordon Hayward to me. Like, Cooper reminds me but maybe Gordon's shot was a little bit better coming out of college. Cooper's a little bit better on the drive. I think Cooper's better with his back to the basket. But let's not forget, Cooper Kupp, he's pretty good too. Cooper Flagg just turned 18. So, like, his ceiling, I think Johni's about tapped outside of, and that's what, when you get older, that typically happens. Who knows how good Cooper Flagg can really be? All right, one more.
All right, let's get to a $5 donation from KG. Appreciate it. I think it's going to come down to who goes farther in the tournament. I'm putting my money on Duke.
Well, I think a lot of it depends on how and where they're seeded. We can talk about them both being number one seeds, but kind of the hidden thing that outside of SEC world, not a lot of people are seeing with this number one overall seed is hopefully if you're Auburn, you get to stay in the South and you end up in Atlanta, which is you don't have a home court advantage, but it makes it a lot easier for the witnesses, as they call them, for Auburn basketball to travel. But speaking about easier, all right, if you're starting a business or you're starting a podcast and you want to be able to keep the main thing, that's where our friends over at Shopify, where they come in. Because we know what's fascinating about starting a successful business today, like Gymshark or Cotopaxi. It's not about just having a great product or cool marketing. It's about what is happening behind the scenes. And the real game changer is often the business powering the business, making every sale seamless and simple. And again, you hear that cha-ching button. We got it over here on the soundboard. That means you've made another sale. That means you are making more money because we know that is the goal. They have the number one checkout system on the planet. And you want to know their not so secret, Blaine?
Yes, I do. Tell me.
It's called Shop Pay. And it boosts conversions by up to 50%. That means way fewer abandoned carts and way more of you making money. So upgrade your business and get the same checkout companies like Gymshark and Cotopaxi use with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/CRAIN. That's all lowercase. That's shopify.com/CRAIN to upgrade your selling today. Hit it one more time, Coach, so that people can hear it. Shopify. Let it electrify your business. All right,
one last thing here, the updated odds to win the award: Cooper Flagg -150, Johni Broome +110. As
so that's
here right now,
them.
and that is Wooden, not Naismith.
Yeah,
okay,
interesting. That'll be
all right. Next one up here. Let's talk about Shadur Sanders quickly, the quarterback coming out of Colorado. He's not going to throw at the NFL Combine this week. Your guys' thoughts on that?
I think it's smart. I mean, you look at the projections. I mean, how much higher can Shedeur really go? I mean, I feel like, you could go there and have a great workout and do this and do that. You don't have a ton of room to move up. You have a lot of room to fall. And, I've talked about this with opting out of bowl games. We never get mad at people for making smart business decisions in other realms of business. But it seems like in sports, if they don't go do everything, somehow that's a knock on them. I can turn on the tape and realize Shedeur Sanders' arm is strong enough. I can turn on the tape and realize Shadur Sanders is mobile enough, whether it's in the pocket or outside of the pocket, to play in the NFL. So I don't need to go get that reinforced by him just going and putting himself in a position to maybe fall. So I know there's some people that are old school that aren't going to like it, whatever. I think it's a smart business decision because you have a lot more to lose than you have to gain.
Well, I'm such a fan of the quarterback position. I just like to watch guys go throw the football, and that'd be great for us. We can come in and break down the tape. But to your point, one, if at the combine, they're not going to throw with shoulder pads or a helmet. Yep. One, how great of a look are you already getting? And then two, Shedeur Sanders' greatest skill set and what he brings to the table was already shown on the football field, which is where you should judge a football player. Whereas if you have someone like Anthony Richardson or someone like Jalen Milroe is the type of guy who could come in here, maybe throw the football 80 yards through the air and get you to move him up on your draft board, that would make a little bit more sense. I don't think Shedeur Sanders is going to be doing something like Anthony Richardson did or even Will Levis. Like we always talk about, Will Levis throws one of the best fastballs.
Dave. Remember Zach Wilson?
Zach Wilson got paid so much money off that one throw. I don't know if that was at a pro day or at the combine, but Will Levis, if you go watch Will Levis throwing fastball after fastball on slant routes, it's one of the most beautiful things you ever see. That doesn't necessarily translate to you being a great passer of the football during game day, which I think Shedeur Sanders is. Also, another part of this is this class being what I think is so weak.
And at the quarterback position.
I mean, I don't think Shedeur Sanders, if he comes out last year when we had 6 quarterbacks in the top 12 picks, would he have been one of the top 6?
I think you throw then. I think if
that's the thing.
Same class as
what's the line, right? If
you're
a projected first-round pick, should you go do anything?
Well, again, if I'm an offensive lineman or anybody that's projected to go at the highest or at the high end of the draft, really, what do I have to gain just to solidify my position? But if you're somebody like Jackson Dart,
I was going to bring up
that people are like, well, man, this guy could. You have a ton to gain from going and running well, right, and throwing well and doing those things. But that's why I think it always helps you out when it's supply and demand, right? In this class, like you brought up, David, there's a lot of supply around the NFL for young or a lot of demand for young quarterbacks around the NFL. You look at some of these teams. We're going to talk about Matt Stafford and them a little bit tomorrow in locker room talk. But the supply's not really there, so you are even more valuable, right? When's the best place and time to sell corn? Well, when people don't have corn and they can't grow it really quickly. So at the end of the day, I think Shedeur is in the perfect situation.
Okay, so quickly, I want to ask both you guys this because I'm glad you brought up Jackson Dart. Because this guy broke the all-time passing records at Ole Miss, broke Eli Manning's records, right? Another 5-star guy coming out when he went to USC, transfers in, plays for Lane Kiffin. What has Shedeur Sanders done on the football field that Jackson Dart hasn't proven on his game tape that he can also do? I mean, is this getting to a point where because of Shedeur Sanders' name recognition, because of his father, Deion Sanders, that sort of has propelled him up into a different echelon when it comes to draft talk, even though his game may be comparable to Jackson Dart? And Jackson Dart, we're sitting here saying, well, you should go throw so you can go up the draft board more.
Well, look, from a standpoint of us and people who follow college football and love college football and all this stuff, we've known who Jackson Dart is for a while. These scouts have known who Jackson Dart is for a while. But the hype behind Shedeur Sanders over the length of time when compared to Jackson Dart, I don't think is close. How many people, if I were to take just casual football fans and asked them who Shedeur Sanders was, would they say, yes, I know that, when compared to Jackson Dart? So, and people say, oh, well, that doesn't matter because the scouts and the GMs are going to make the decision. Well, the fans are the ones that give you backlash if you don't go draft the guy that they think is right. So I think Shedeur Sanders feels like more of a proven commodity. Whether he is or whether he isn't, in reality, that remains to be seen. We got to see Jackson and Shedeur's careers play out. But I think Shedeur has been so much more hyped for longer than I think it would. If Jackson Dart was going to move ahead of Shedeur Sanders, he's got to go prove it at a combine.
So if you're a team like, the Raiders are at 6. Obviously, we've talked about the Giants being at 3 or even the Browns at 2. But, I'm looking at these teams, even the Jets at 7 right now, Saints at 9. If you're one of these teams and you already value Jackson Dart over Shedeur Sanders, maybe you're calling and saying, hey, maybe don't throw. I know there was this thing in Little League football where I was growing up that if you already knew you wanted to draft one of these kids and you already knew how good they were, you said, hey, don't take him to the tryout day so all the other coaches can see him. We're going to get him in the third round rather than have a first round. If you already value Jackson Dart over Shedeur Sanders, you don't want everyone else to be seeing that at Pro Day 2 or at the NFL Combine because you might get a steal.
Well, then on the other hand, if you're a team that may not be taking a quarterback that may want to trade back, you want Jackson and have one of those early picks in front of those other teams. You want Jackson Dart to go throw well because you want to add value to trading back to get him if the hype keeps going. But I think the example you gave of Jalen Milroe as a guy who needs to go there and run a good 40 and be strong and look more crisp than he did at the Senior Bowl, he probably has the chance to rise the highest when we look at the top, 4 to 5 to 6 quarterbacks. Should Kyle McCord go where, how well is Kyle McCord going to run?
That's another good
How
one.
many is he going to bench? Maybe he just needs to go throw. It's all circumstance.
But Jalen Milroe would go and be great at everything.
Yeah.
Like he's a type, he could go throw it 75 yards. He could go run 4.3 or 4.4. He could go do 225 on the bench. I don't even know how many times, right? Like he would look great at every single thing. And then you'd put GMs in a position to say, how much do we value that? It's been valued before.
And again, we can talk about the athlete versus the quarterback, whatever. Lamar Jackson changed a lot of minds. Not that Jalen is Lamar.
There's just always something when you see, he runs 4.3, he can bench 225 25 times, he can throw it 75 yards. He'll be different from me.
Well, we can make that work.
He'll be great.
We can make that work.
Don't worry, we'll fix him. All right, let's go to a $5 donation from It Matters. Appreciate it, man. It says, if you're a first-round pick, shouldn't you want to prove you're the best? Why sit out and let others raise their stock?
Well, and again, in theory, you're right. In practice, in practicality, I don't really see it. Unless they're, the only example I could probably give is if you were coming back from an injury. Like you had torn your ACL at the beginning of the year and you wanted to go show everybody
Michael
that your
Penix.
knee was fine. Yes, something like that to go prove, hey, I'm back to where I was physically. Shedeur doesn't have that problem. Cam Ward doesn't have that problem. Jackson Dart doesn't have that problem. And it's easy to say that when you're not the one that's out there risking it all, when you could still probably get everything without doing it. So, again, is that the old school way of going out to prove it to everybody and hurrah, hooray, and let's get behind it together? Yeah, I feel you on that. But would you actually, if it was your son, go out there and say, hey, risk this at the Senior Bowl? Risk this at the Combine? I don't know if you would.
Here's a tweet from Adam Schefter. Prominent QBs who did not throw at the Combine include Derek Carr, Teddy Bridgewater, Johnny Manziel, Andrew Luck, Robert Griffin III, Ryan Tannehill, Brock Osweiler, Blaine Gabbert, Sam Bradford, Tim Tebow, Matt Stafford, Matt Ryan, Brady Quinn, and Jamarcus Russell. Jamarcus Russell's interesting because in a day and age like we were just talking about,
Peyton Manning didn't
it
either.
70 yards on one knee. Well, I didn't say these were the only ones.
Yeah, it's a mixed bag. Like
so
you're
saying
go out there and ball
Peyton didn't throw at the Combine?
Peyton didn't throw the Combine. Joe Burrow didn't throw the Combine.
They didn't invite Tom Brady.
I'm pretty sure Baker Mayfield didn't do certain drills. Lamar didn't do certain drills. I remember Lamar didn't do a 40-yard dash because people were going to want him change position.
Well, the way I think about it, it's like a first date. All right? On my first date, I'm playing to my strengths. I'm going to put on the outfit that makes me look the best. I'm going to take you to a restaurant I think that you're going to like, and I know the menu. Maybe I've been working on French and some Babbel, and I can order in French with the waiter. I'm not going to go take a bunch of risks when it matters the most. I got to make that first impression.
I thought you wore your worst outfit because you like a challenge.
You take her swimming.
Yeah.
That's what you do. First date. Let's see the real you. Let's go to a $5 donation from Let Me Speak. What's up, man? He says, if game film is enough, why do so many players improve their stock at the Combine? Workout results do matter.
Oh, they do. I'll give you a great example. Xavier Worthy last year. If I know I'm going out there running 4.33, I'm running the 40. Now, am I going to go bench press? I don't know.
That's
man.
a different position, though.
Yeah, it is. But, again, it's not that you should never go work out at the Combine. It's playing to your strengths and knowing where you sit. If I'm going to be the number 1 overall pick, everybody's not Bo Callahan, okay? They're not going to find out your teammates didn't go to your birthday party. All right, if the game tape is good enough and you can do nothing but move down, why would I risk it? Why would I do it? There's no point in doing that. It's actually stupid, in my opinion.
I wonder if Titans fans wish that Will Levis hadn't thrown.
I bet they do. Here's the thing about the Titans. You either better draft Cam Ward or trade that pick. Yep. Anything other than that is pure stupidity.
I will understand them drafting Abdul Carter.
I would not understand it.
I think
he's going to play quarterback.
I think he's the best player in the draft.
Is he going to play quarterback? Abdul Carter going to go
probably
play quarterback?
No,
listen,
he's going to get a bunch of sacks, and they're going to go 5-11.
Yeah, like that's not what. If they do that, I'm afraid they may burn down Titan Stadium. I'm afraid that I live around it, to be honest with you. But all right, let's move on to a little bit of best and worst.
Best and worst college basketball. We were all at the kids' house this weekend watching some college basketball. It was a fun time.
Yeah, no, it was a great time. I'm going to start with my best. And I showed Auburn some love at the beginning, so I'm going to show Alabama some love here. Mark Sears, Alabama coming off 2 straight losses, looked really bad defensively. But Mark Sears has now scored, I think, 65 points combined in his past 2 games. Didn't start out well against Kentucky. If I'm an Alabama fan, I'd still be worried about that. But Bama, they showed their physicality. I know Kentucky was down Jackson Robinson and Lamont Butler. I know how important they are. But this Alabama team's really good. Okay, don't get lost in the, Auburn's the number 1 team in the country, Florida's number 2, and think that Alabama, they have no chance. This Alabama team has a chance to make it to the Final Four, and I think win the whole thing. They just need to get their confidence back, their swag back a little bit, and they got that. They were physical rebounding. That's been one thing that Nate Oates has talked about. And then defensively, that's what's going to make or break Alabama when they get to the NCAA tournament. But you want your best player playing his best this time of year, and Mark Sears is going absolutely nuts right now. So my best is Alabama bouncing back. Now, they got Murderers Row still coming up. You got a tough Mississippi State team at home.
Tomorrow.
You got to play Florida. You got to go to Tennessee, and they don't have a lot of margin for error when it comes to the SEC regular season. But a nice win for Alabama bouncing back from those 2 losses as they continue to get ready for March.
My best of the weekend, boys, Michigan signed head coach Dusty May to a contract extension, which was great news considering I think there was a legitimate concern that he could go to Indiana, right? Like he was there under Bob Knight. He has ties to the program. Indiana, great basketball school. That position is going to come open. But contract extension now, don't know all the details, but the original deal was 5 years, $3.8 million per year. Mm-hmm. So now that's been extended. And look, he's got Michigan, had a chance to take control of the Big Ten. They lost to Michigan State. I won't talk about that. They do go on the road to Nebraska tonight, and he's got them right there in a position that I think the Michigan basketball program likes to see.
Well, I mean, he's hit on all the transfers, too. I mean, you bring in Danny Wolf from Yale. You bring in, Golden from FAU, which you see, guys, it's crazy. You go back and look at that FAU Final Four team. You have Elijah Martin, who's starting at Florida right now. You have Golden, who's, one of the 2 7-footers that's playing well at Michigan. And you've got John L. Davis, who's playing at Arkansas, and they're playing really, really good right now. By the way, Arkansas with a massive win. We're going to get to bracketology, but a massive win over a ranked Missouri team to kind of up their odds of making the NCAA tournament. But Dusty Mays, he's done an incredible job.
My best over the weekend, I know you fellas saw this, Alex Rodriguez, also known as A-Rod, the man who hit 351 home runs for the Yankees. People don't forget, was at Bucknell to hit a half-court shot to win a student $10,000. Multi-sport talented guy right here. Play this. Is it me or is it Alex Rodriguez looks like he's getting younger?
No, well, I mean, as many things as that guy's taken, who knows?
It's absolute cash.
No, it's this
cash money. Wow. Come on, baby.
Yes. What is the connection between A-Rod and Bucknell? It was awesome. This was fun to see, but it's so random. Like, what is the Alex Rodriguez connection to Bucknell? Do I just not know? I mean, he's a Miami kid,
I think he bought the school.
He bought the school for $12,000 and then hit the half-court shot for $10,000.
What's it saying? Any connection?
Through his business ventures and recent campus activities. He lost a business partnership, co-founded Jump, a technological company focused on enhancing fan experience, alongside Mark Lohr and Jordy Lesser. Both the women are Bucknell alumni.
Okay.
Additionally, in 2021, Rodriguez and Lohr expanded their collaboration by joining the ownership group of the NBA's Minnesota Timberwolves and the WNBA's Minnesota Lynx.
Is A-Rod more likable now than he used to be? I know they've had him on like baseball.
When did y'all not like him?
Huh?
When did y'all not like him?
Bro, he was hated by a lot of... Have you ever seen the Screwball documentary on Netflix? Think that's what it's called? Bro, it's, again, alleged. I'm going to protect myself here, but allegedly was like putting hits out on people, like all type of crazy.
Can we run that back one more time? Can we see if he stepped over the line? I want to see if he's actually going to get this money for this kid.
Well, A-Rod could give him $10,000. Go ahead and play it.
It's about the rules, Jake.
Yeah.
The insurance company's not putting up with it. I think.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
That's clean.
I don't know.
We got to go to the review.
I don't know.
We got to go to the review.
I need to find out why I'm not involved in more Bucknell business.
I want to do a half-court shot, but I
He
keep
probably
the money.
hit it.
I
would pick you if 10 grand were on the line.
Thank you.
I don't know about your lottery ticket this week. I'm pulling for you.
I'm hitting. Then we're getting on the.
If you do hit that, I'm immediately buying one of those things that you can it's like a jetpack but in the ocean.
Really?
You know what I'm talking about?
See, I wouldn't want to risk that. After I just won $180 million, I'm good on.
You don't go up high enough to
That's what
hurt yourself.
Yeah. They always say that. That's probably what they said back in the day when the first time a human saw a bear. Like, oh, it's fine. Don't worry, it'll be fine. Just ripped them apart.
That's the things about bears. You can't run away from them.
No, and you can't go up either.
Can't climb a tree.
Not a good decision. All right, my worst, and this is according to KFSN. Okay, they're out in Fresno, California. They say Action News has learned that 2 of 3 Fresno State men's basketball student athletes accused of sports gambling allegedly placed bets on games they actively played in. Now, according to ESPN sources, sound like Adam Schefter, Fresno State has removed junior forward Michael Robinson from the team and suspended guards Jalen Weaver and Zion Collins for their potential ties to sports gambling. Sources tell Action News that Robinson and Weaver allegedly placed bets that the Bulldog men's basketball team would underperform on points and rebounds. And sources also add Collins allegedly placed bets on professional sports and that Weaver will not be returning to the program. Fresno State basketball, what is you doing, baby? And you're betting on underperforming?
See,
if I'm going to get caught, I bet too much on us doing too good.
I'll never
That's what Pete Rose did.
Yeah. Bet on us to win.
Dude, I'll never understand why these guys don't text me.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, whether it's Jamison Williams, any of these guys, this is not hard. Didn't Jamison Williams, they're like, oh, how did you find out he did it? He's like, well, he's got a DraftKings account and it's Jamison Williams 12 at Yahoo.
The real me.
Hey, it's really Jamison Williams.
The real Jamison Williams. I run 4-3. It's me.
It's really me. It's really me. Listen, third party. That's what we're talking with the umpire for Major League Baseball that got in trouble or whatever, that won't be brought back. You don't have to. You meet up at a sports bar. Nobody's calling anybody on the phone. They're not texting anybody. You go through a third party, and that's how you get it done. But how stupid do you got to be?
Selfish, you know.
How stupid do you got to be? That's my worst, for stupidity and the act.
Man, my worst from this weekend, Wisconsin blowing a 15-point second-half lead to Oregon. Unless you're an Oregon fan, and then it's your best. Oregon wins 77-73. But Jackson Shellstad hit that deep 3 to force overtime. Remember that? And, Wisconsin had a season-high 17 turnovers in this game, and this is only the second home game that Wisconsin has lost. But 21 points off the bench for Oregon to end up winning this game. This is the shot that we're talking about that forced overtime, though. Can we watch this?
This is buttery. You know he's going to pull it. Oh, sidestep.
In your mouth.
The flavors are delicious. Then Klesmit comes down, misses a shot. God, Wisconsin, man. I had the 4-box on YouTube TV. Had the 4-box on. Was watching different games, and I almost changed it in the multi-view to a 3-box when Wisconsin got up like 14 or 15 or whatever. But then all of a sudden, Oregon made this run. Oregon is weird. Like, Oregon beat Alabama. They'll look great and then look terrible. Then look great and look terrible. And everybody talks about Jackson, the guy who hit that shot, as being the engine. I look at Nate Biddle down low. When he plays good, Oregon is really talented. Bamba is a nice player, right? They have a couple pieces that can do some things. Even the Tracy kid can play, but that was a hell of a game. And, man, Wisconsin, Tanji, kind of disappeared in that one after dropping like 32 in the second half of a game, or 22 or whatever it was before that. But that was a hell of a game.
My worst, and if you got a weak stomach, I don't know if you want to watch this. Duke Miles.
Oh, this is bad.
For Oklahoma while they're playing Mississippi State at home, dove after a ball, and I'll let the video show you the rest.
Has at the other end.
Love the effort.
Face. Damn it.
Teeth.
So instantly, something's wrong. Then look at it. Look at his
They're
teeth.
picking up his teeth.
You can see them.
I'm good.
Man, and if you've ever hit that, sometimes, and look, we all know football's a more physical sport than basketball, but as high as these guys jump, and as fast and as physical and as strong as they are, if you've ever hit the hardwood, there's a reason it's called hardwood. It is not soft. It is not soft at all. And I've never, fortunately for me, gotten my teeth knocked out, whether it's baseball, football, or basketball. But I just don't know how you play basketball without a mouthpiece in. I'd have to wear a mouthpiece.
I'd probably play one.
Because that's just absolutely.
And another worst, and we're going to talk about it on Locker Room Talk with the BYU. Shout out BYU, big win. Yeah. What their fans did. What Arizona's fans,
yeah. If you don't know, Arizona's fans, and we are going to talk about this more tomorrow on Locker Room Talk, were chanting F the Mormons. And they weren't saying F, they were saying the word, and you lost the game.
Yeah, BYU, great win.
Yeah, and look, I tell you, you want to talk about a team that's scary in March? When you look at BYU with Richie Saunders and some of the guys that they have that can shoot and get hot, that is a scary, scary team that I would not be shocked if we looked up and BYU was in the Sweet 16 and maybe beat somebody they're not supposed to get the Elite Eight. Because when they get hot, they can get really, really hot. Kevin Young's done a hell of a job for them because, Mark Pope took the Kentucky job. A lot of people thought Kevin Young was going to stay in the NBA. He comes to BYU. But, Arizona fans, what do? You got a player on the team that's Mormon.
Yeah.
Right? 6% of the population in Arizona is Mormon. It's just not a good look, man. That's crossing the line a little bit. But all right, let's get to the chat.
Let's go to a $5 donation from I'm Duckin'. What's up, man? Is Oregon's defense good enough to make a deep tournament run, or will their inconsistencies be their downfall? I'm falling to the second one.
I've watched Oregon play throughout the year. And inconsistency, I think, is the best word. Now, when they're playing good, they can run with anybody. I mentioned they beat Alabama, right? They have some big wins on the season. But it's like they'll play 2 good games, then 2 bad games, 2 good games and 2 bad games. And when you get in that NCAA tournament, it feels like Oregon could be a team that gets hot here at the end of the year, goes in the NCAA tournament, gets a pretty good seed, and then loses to, Princeton or somebody like that. I just don't trust them. They're not a team that I would pick to make it to the second weekend right now. Now, we'll see. The consistency, as you brought up, is just not there.
They're 20-8 overall, 9-8 in the Big Ten for 7th place, and they had lost 5 games in a row before this 4-game win streak.
It's just, how can I trust that? How can I sit there with my bracket and be like, oh, well, you're incredibly inconsistent, but I'm going to pick you to go to the Elite Eight.
Let's go to $1.99 donation from I Am Rick. Appreciate it. I've never melted down so quick in a basketball game, and I'm a Wisconsin fan. I just had a feeling we're going to somehow find a way to lose that game.
Well, and here's the scary part if you're a Wisconsin fan. I don't think you took your foot off the gas. I think Oregon just outplayed you by a lot. Same thing with Purdue and Indiana, if you watch that game. Purdue was taking absolute belt to ass that first half. I mean, they were up 12 at halftime, running away, and then it wasn't like Purdue started playing really bad. Indiana just started playing really good. And if you're a Wisconsin fan, what is the ceiling for Wisconsin? I know Tanji can go off, but how well can Tanji create a shot down the stretch? I don't know. I don't know if Wisconsin is as much respect as I have for the Big Ten. I would take Michigan over Wisconsin right now. With Donaldson, I feel like they're just a little bit more creative and a little more innovative on offense.
A $5 donation from the Boomer. Appreciate it. It says, David, do you really like the new contract extension for the head coach of Michigan basketball? I think he's doing okay, but I don't think he's doing great.
Well, this guy, we were talking about this the other day when it came to Luke Fickell and Wisconsin. Different situations because he just had a losing season, right? But there is something to say about hey, you signed a contract. Let's let that play out a little bit before we go signing extensions. I do think this is different, though, when Indiana is a great basketball school, and he was the top name on that board.
And that's Mama.
Now, I don't know any inside information. I don't know if Indiana's really contacted this guy, but you don't think they're at least going to have Dusty May on the board at some point when this guy was, what was it, a ball boy?
Yeah, for like a manager.
Right?
Something like that.
For Bob Knight.
And if you know Indiana basketball like that.
If it wasn't a ball boy, I don't mean to disrespect the guy. It might have been like a team manager or something like that.
I think either way.
Something like that.
He's ingrained
for Bob Knight. Yeah. So, look, again, they'll be able to get out of it if he ends up playing bad. This is like the Hotel California situation, buddy. It's like you can check out any time, but you can never leave unless you lose a bunch of games, and we'll find a way out.
Yeah. Well, the first thing I say to Boomer, if you're saying he's not doing great, go look at, I know Juwan Howard had one run, but look at how that program kind of fell off. I think what Dusty's done. And I do understand the people that are like, hey, well, what happens when the players you hit on FAU or these transfers you got in, can you do it again? We ask that same question all the time. Look at Mike Norvell from Florida State. I mean, you hit on transfers one year, you go undefeated. You don't hit on them the next year, you almost went defeated the whole season. But as far as the love for Indiana basketball, I tell the story all the time about, and I'm not going to say his name, but he was my 10th grade social studies teacher. And he literally, the first day of school, it's the first time we ever met him. The first thing he did to a bunch of 10th grade high school students was read the letter he wrote Bob Knight when he was 9 years old. And he's from Indiana. Bro, that's like we love football down here. Like, it is absolutely that deep. But speaking about deep, Joe Lunardi, Bracketology. Ooh. This man gets deep in the numbers. He's the guy that I trust the most. No offense to Jerry Palm or some others, but he puts out a Bracketology update every couple of days, and this is the one that he just put out. We'll start with the one line here because there are a lot of people that are talking about, Florida and Alabama, who are all the one seeds going to be, or who's in danger of losing it. So Alabama had lost 2 in a row, but they're still the number 3 overall seed. Duke jumped them. So Auburn is the number 1 overall seed right now. Duke is the number 2 overall seed. Alabama's the number 3, and Florida is number 4. And do not forget, guys, Florida and Alabama play each other in Coleman Coliseum. There could be a lot on the line on that one. I don't see Duke losing again the rest of the year. So, it would take a lot for Auburn to lose that number 1 overall. I think right now it is a fight for that 3rd and that 4th overall 1 seed, which, if that's what you're fighting over, congrats. But always, the most interesting thing, whether it's the college football playoff bubble now or college basketball, is who's on the bubble. And it was a huge week for some SEC teams. So right now, the last 4 byes, which people say, oh, well, why is that important? Well, you don't want to have to play in the play-in games, right? You want to go ahead and get to play in that first round. The last 4 byes are West Virginia, Vanderbilt, shout out to Mark Byington, Texas, who had that huge win over Kentucky, then lost at South Carolina, and Nebraska, who plays against Michigan tonight. The last 4 in are San Diego State, Oklahoma, which had that big win over Mississippi State, Arkansas, who beat Missouri, and Wake Forest, who's kind of been wobbling here lately. And the first 4 out, guys, the first one is just, for the first time in 1,477 days, Kansas is not ranked, and North Carolina is in the first 4 out, which is so wild to see. So It's them, SMU, Georgia, right, who played Auburn pretty tight here recently, and then Boise State. And then on the next 4 out, you've got George Mason, Xavier, Indiana, and Villanova. And right now, guys, the SEC is on pace to get 13 teams in the NCAA tournament. The conference in second is the Big Ten with 10, ironically, and the Big 12 with 8. Guys, the ACC only with 4. So I want to jigsaw this for a second. I want to play a little game.
Of Saul?
No, I'm not going to put you in a room and make you slice your leg off. That's next week.
Okay.
But I don't want to ruin it. I'm going to name a team on the last 4 in. All right. I'm going to give you those 4. Then I'm going to give you the first 4 out. And I want you to tell me if you think they're going to end up being in the tournament or outside of the tournament. Okay. All right. Blaine, I'll start with you. North Carolina.
Out.
You think out.
Out.
We pull up the rest of North Carolina's schedule.
I would love to, Coach. Yes,
if you have North Carolina and Villanova missing the NCAA tournament, that just feels funny to me. All right, Coney. Arkansas right now is on the last 4 in. Are they going to make it in?
Let's go. Let's get Cal in there.
Let's get him in
Let's do some damage.
Dude,
now's the time.
Arkansas without Boogie Flan. It's amazing because he's an NBA player, but he's like a volume shooting point guard. It has made them better, though, since he's been out. And I hate to say that because I know the kid plays his guts out. But you got North Carolina the rest of their schedule here?
Yes, Sensei, I do. You have Virginia at home. No, you just played that. Just 81-66. You're at Florida State.
Not going to help.
I think that game right now I saw it's plus 3.5 North Carolina.
No, I saw North Carolina as a 2.5 point favorite before I walked in here.
Okay, then you have Miami at home.
Not going to help you.
At Virginia Tech.
Not going to help
Then you slowly get strangled by Duke at home.
So you do have Duke. So does North Carolina have to beat Duke and or win the ACC tournament or win 2 to 3 games in the ACC tournament? That's the question. And they get Duke at home, you said?
They get Duke at home.
They get Duke at home. All right, Coney. So Arkansas, you're feeling good about it.
Texas at home, at South Carolina, at Vanderbilt, Mississippi State at home.
Okay.
Sucks.
You go 3-1, you're in. You go 3-1, you're in. Texas, like I just mentioned, they're one of the last 4 byes. That'd be a nice win. So you get Vandy and Texas, who are both in the last 4 byes. You play both of them, and you're the last 4 in. God, you love to see that. By the way, those playing games would be fire, the ones I'm looking at right now. All right, Blaine, Oklahoma. They're going to make it in. In? You feel like Jeremiah Fear? Porter Moser better help.
Defense, baby. Defense.
Because if he doesn't, I think they're going to fire Porter Moser, the Brent Venables lookalike. at Oklahoma.
No way. They're going to fire the Crypt Keeper?
Yeah. All right.
You want their schedule?
Yeah, go their schedule.
All right. They have Kentucky at home.
Ooh.
You're at Ole Miss.
Ooh.
Missouri at home. Then you're at Texas.
Whew, buddy. 2-2.
Play defense.
Play a little defense.
Hey, don't forget, Oklahoma started out 13.
That's not how you play defense.
I don't know. That looked. They did.
Come on, Dave.
Yeah.
Did a movie about it. I dressed up as a woman.
I don't know. Play. All right. Last one. Coney, Georgia.
Out.
Georgia.
Yeah. Let's pull up that.
I already got it up. In your face, David. Florida at home.
Ooh.
At Texas. At South Carolina.
Okay.
And you finish off with Vanderbilt at home.
They played Auburn pretty tough.
They did play Auburn pretty tough. They covered, I think it was 15.5. They lost by 12. If you're Georgia, because I believe Georgia has a win over St. John's, which looks pretty good right now. If you could split those, right? If you could split those, I think you got a pretty good chance. If you're Georgia or Oklahoma or any of these teams, you're just rooting against bid stealers.
Yeah.
That's what you're just rooting against bid stealers. You want to make sure that all your guys get in. But I do want to move over here to bets, guys, and I want to update people. You know, we do locks, leans, and dogs every weekend, and we've shifted from college football to college basketball. I just want to update people on how we did this weekend because we absolutely slaughtered it. Okay, we do 18 bets. Okay, it's 6 bets apiece. We have our locks for 2, our leans for 2, and our dogs for 2. As a group, we went 12-6. At plus 6.72 units. You picked Oregon, which hit on one of your dogs.
Yep.
I picked Oklahoma. Coney, you were unbeaten in your locks and leans as well. Basically, I believe if you bet $100 on each one of the bets that we made, you would have won almost $700.
Yeah, and quickly, the teams I'll never forgive. Kentucky, I'll never forgive you. Mississippi State, I'll never forgive you. Iowa State, I don't know what's happening in y'all's program, but you're solid.
Can we throw Illinois in there too?
I
can't.
Bro, what happened?
I cannot believe it.
Look, I get you
at
losing.
Madison Square Garden. Y'all do that?
Disgusting.
You got dropped like a bad habit. All right, tonight bets Houston at Texas Tech. Now we got a lot of Texas Tech fans that watch this show, and you're going to be in the tournament. All right, I'm not loving the way y'all been playing lately though, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But Houston, woo! They're as consistent as it gets, baby. On the road, grind it together. Give me Tugler and the boys. That's at minus 122. And then North Carolina going to play Florida State. Leonard Hamilton at Florida State resigning at the end of the year. North Carolina has to have it. Probably got to win out or win the ACC tournament. Give me the Tar Heels to cover at minus 2.5. Fellas, that's going off at minus 118.
I like it. I'm going to take Houston money line as well. I'll take those minus 122 odds.
Love it.
Minus 122 odds there. And then go ahead and give me Michigan money line minus 120 at Nebraska. A little bit of PTSD considering they lost at home to Michigan State with the Big Ten #1 spot on the line. But I'm going to go back to the well.
All right, pull my bets up. Coney.
Oh, bet buds.
Let's go.
Walking with the boys.
Let's go.
Walking with the boys.
He believes.
Into the deep. All right, you shall not pass. Michigan money line, minus 118. Give me the Houston Texas Tech over at 131.5, minus 110. A lot of people think the under is going to hit in this game. And what do you do when people think that?
Take the over.
Bet.
Well, that's what we did for Tennessee, Texas A&M. I mean, as much as I want to get mad at Texas A&M for being one of my dogs and losing at home, I mean, we both picked the over, got it at 129.5, and that got absolutely smoked. Remember this, 2 great defenses, bet the over. 2 great offenses, bet the under.
We had to sweat out the Alabama over, though.
Good God.
Never sweated.
Was it Omiori or alley-oop or whatever?
1 point to spare, yeah.
Yeah, look, never a doubt, Cone, never a doubt. Then Ace, he's going to take Kansas, which, like I said, it has been 1,477 days since Kansas was unranked. They were unranked today when the AP dropped. They're going to play Colorado.
I know that sucks, but that's so impressive.
That is really impressive.
That's a crazy stat.
Well, I mean, you look at Kansas this year with what's happened with the transfer class and the older guys that have been there. It's been a disaster. But good news for them, Colorado sucks. So Kansas, minus 6.5, is going off at minus 110. Then North Alabama, quality basketball team. I like going to the well here at minus 11.5. And also, shout out to our buddy Andy Kennedy at UAB. Had a nice win over the weekend as well. They're 18-9. I think they're probably going to have to win their conference tournament to get in, but they could do it. They're pretty
that
good.
Kansas unranking. I really hate that for Hunter Dickerson. I feel so bad.
Dude, can I
feel so bad him leaving Michigan. And
is he like? And I've been watch him. I know he's had a good year, but like the more I watch him, I'm like, is this dude really an NBA player? Like, I don't really know.
He was good at Michigan.
He was but good. It's almost.
Has he regressed?
I mean, and look, I know the year hasn't been great. I don't know what's going on with the team chemistry on the inside, but Hunter doesn't look right. DeJuan Harris doesn't look right. Adams doesn't look right. It's something. And I mean, when Bill Self, after the game, comes and says, we need to spend some time away from each other, and we're like at the end of February, that ain't.
It's just, you're like 7'2".
Yeah. Look, I'm with you. How do you not
just don't suck?
He'll get a shot.
Just stretch the floor, block some shots.
Well, I watch him move. Not that you have to be
he's stiff.
Amazing athlete at 7'2", but God, he's basically a Viagra commercial, man. I mean, that dude, he can't. I wonder how he turns corners, to be honest with you, at the end of the day. All right, let's get to the chat as we wind.
All right, if you donated today, guys, thank you so much. We're going to start off with the $5 donation from The Major. Appreciate it. It says, is it me or does Joe Lunardi always seem to miss one or two big teams?
Well, I mean, if we're talking about, a 68-team tournament, missing one or two, I think is pretty good. But, I mean, he's a guy I trust the most. Now, look, he's kind of the most visual because he's at ESPN, but I think Joe does a really good job. And I saw this, I forgot who put it on social media. If you look at the top 6 teams right now and you compare them to the 1 seeds from previous years, all 6 of them could be 1 seeds in the previous years. We're having such a good year at the top of college basketball. I mean, right now, let's be honest, and I'm an Auburn fan. If Auburn played Florida on a neutral site, I'd be horrified. Not just because of what happened in Neville, but they got Hand-Glockton back. Now Condon's coming back tonight. This Florida team, and I think you can get Florida at like plus 750 or plus 900 to win the whole thing right now. That'd be a pretty good bet.
What a last name, Hand-Glockton?
Hand-Glockton? Yeah, pull out the glizzy and get busy.
$2 donation from Justin. Appreciate it, Justin. How about the classless Tide baseball photo?
Did you guys see that one?
Yeah, you said it in the group. They rally from like 10 runs down to beat Ohio State.
Yeah.
They put a picture in the locker room that said F the O.
F the O, yeah.
And then they apologized for it.
Lame.
I mean, yeah, it's classless, but
it's baseball. Who cares? $5 donation from Tyler. Appreciate it. If it's me, I cam or trade and get a veteran for Tennessee. Just for the love of God, Titans do not get Dak Prescott.
Well, I wonder if you ask Titan fans, if I gave you these 2 options, who would you rather get? Aaron Rodgers or Dak Prescott? I wonder, would you think more people would vote for Dak?
Yeah.
You think they would? I think it'd be tight.
$10 donation from the like a tie guy. $10 donation from the last man in. How does Lunardi decide bubble teams, and why do some schools with similar records get left out?
Well, a lot of it is, and guys have sources on the inside, so I'm sure that Joe Lunardi has cultivated enough relationships with people where, he knows who's on the committee and kind of knows how it works and has some sort of insight. Not that they give him, the whole recipe, but the one thing I like about college basketball is you can really look at how the numbers are baked and come up with an idea of, all right, well, this team, every 19-9 is not the same. That's why scheduling heavy in the non-conference, you look at teams like Oklahoma right now, some of these bubble teams that played these big-time teams in the non-conference, why they're still alive, and some other teams that may have better records aren't. And another thing I will say is, and they keep talking about this when I watch, and I hope it's true, because I hope this is the way they do it, in that they don't look and say, oh, well, the SEC is such a strong conference, we're going to just look at an SEC team and automatically put them above others. They crunch the numbers. Obviously, if you're in a stronger conference, you're going to play teams that are ranked higher in KenPom and BPI and strength of schedule and all that stuff. So naturally, it works its way out, and you can kind of find it. That's what I don't like about college football. They tell you the numbers that go into college basketball. I can look and say, this team has this, this team has this, this team has this, put it in the computer and spits it out. In college football, we're like, well, how do you get to your numbers? And then David looks it up, and they say it's not publicly shared information. So now I think you're full.
$5 donation from Daniel. Appreciate it, Daniel. He said, I never thought I'd find anything I loved more than Mayflower cigars, but your boys' shows have topped the list. Really enjoying the content y'all are putting out.
Appreciate it, Daniel.
Who said that?
How about you smoke a Mayflower and watch the show? That's peak.
It's a perfect day.
That's peak. That's why I love when we do the live stream.
That's what we do with the live stream.
I'm so ready for March Madness, too, especially after I hit this lottery on Tuesday.
We got to do something when they come up here to Nashville.
Oh, wait, you talking about the SEC tournament?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hell yeah, it's at Bridgestone.
Wait, did we decide what the first thing we're buying is when you win the lottery?
Gone back and forth. I want to pay everything off first. I said we.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
I
that's
don't
what I'm
think you
saying.
heard
It went to we to I really quickly.
Well, I'm going to handle that. Don't worry. It's not too much. Thank God. But no, I was thinking the first thing that I would buy, I'm not putting any in crypto. Like,
Do what?
I'm not putting any in crypto regardless of what Blaine says.
Let me scratch my list off.
Yeah. You might as well. Okay, Steph Curry, miss me with the crypto. Do I go real estate first? People in the chat, what was the first thing you would buy if you won $100 million?
Should buy an island.
I'm not going to buy an island.
We could fix the bad vibes.
I don't want to go fix
Party
get
island.
a fixer-upper island.
We took 7-footer island away from him, and now
No, y'all did not.
This is the
Mine.
This is the
I own that land.
You still work there, buddy?
I own that land.
You're a big part of it.
Y'all pay me every month, and I appreciate it.
No, yeah, you get $8.
Yeah, you're both fired. $2 donation from James. Appreciate it, James. Auburn plays 10 times better in Atlanta, by the way. Hashtag we ready. Hashtag can't wait.
Hey, just got to keep wanting us to be playing our best. You know what I say that, and obviously you want to be playing your best. But last year, Auburn won the SEC tournament and was playing great, and then it goes and poops in their hand against Yale and throws it against the wall. Maybe we just need to get out.
Get out of the SEC. There's certain
tournament.
visuals I didn't need today, and that's one of them.
What?
What do you mean what?
I enjoyed it.
I bet you
A
did.
Swedish brunch?
A Belgium lunch? $5 donation from Brad. Appreciate it, Brad. Good afternoon. Hope everyone's had a better weekend than Joy Reid.
Yeah, I saw that. God, don't you hate it?
Darn it!
I just hate it.
Oh, no.
What am I going to do at night now?
I know.
I don't know. Maybe be smarter.
$20 donation from The Thing. Appreciate it. Auburn's going all the way this year, fellas. I can feel it in my bones. Hashtag we'll lose in the second round.
God, boy, if that's how we're feeling. All right, I'm afraid to talk. I do a sports show for a living. I'm afraid to talk about it.
It's okay.
Like,
All right.
I've been hurt too many times. And then the one time we make the Final Four run and you get to see it, right? You get to see it. Then all of a sudden, somebody steals the binoculars out of your truck. It's just tough.
$5 donation from HB. Cooper Flagg and Johni Broome are baby food compared to Wisconsin's John Tonji. Ascona's Wolverines will be roadkill when they face us again.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you saw, but Tanjay was in Now You See Me 3 against Oregon in the second half. Just disappeared.
$5 donation from The Itch. Appreciate it. Cooper Flagg will be the most overrated number one pick to walk into the NBA.
Is he going to be the number one picker? There's there's another Frenchman. Apparently France is stepping up in basketball. You look left and right. They're like either from France or like Serbia.
No, I'll buy it.
I just, look, Wemby's out now. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Got like a blood clot or something.
$5 donation from the coach. What is happening with Kentucky basketball? We are slowly falling off. Is Mark Pope the right guy?
Well, I think multiple things have happened with Kentucky. Now that the SEC has kind of caught up with you, you're not going to dominate on the scale that you used to dominate. But I think Mark Pope is a good coach. And you've got to understand, it's his first year there. Jackson Robinson is out. Lamont Butler, who I think is the most underrated player in college basketball, even though I feel like he's been playing college basketball for 30 years and he was a dog at San Diego State. Him being out defensively hurts y'all more than what I think people understand. If Kentucky can be healthy, right, and Brea can make his shots, and look, the Morris Williams kid down low is a freak show. The Drexel transfer, I think Kentucky's going to be just fine.
Let's go to a $2 donation from the Timmerman. He says, A-Rod is king. You're damn right, brother. $5 donation from TJ. As said before, your metaphors are magical, Jake. Your self-appointed Leo liaison from KS.
Hey, look, I appreciate that, dog. Checks in the mail. Got them metaphors.
Last donation of the day, a $10 donation from Serb. Appreciate it, Serb. Cosmic Brownies aren't banned yet. Little Debbie just had 2 years to get Red Dye 3, which is banned. And in Cosmic Brownies, out of Cosmic Brownies, God has not abandoned us yet. We can't breathe. We can breathe. Okay.
Look, my wife loves Cosmic Brownies.
Okay.
Not a fan. Did somebody say, was it you that said Rogan was talking about Girl Scout cookies are poisonous?
Joe Rogan was talking about it.
Yeah.
God, dude, we just got $6.
Dude, I just ate.
What am I supposed to not eat?
And Thin Mints.
I ate a whole box by myself.
Thin Mints.
Well, what do we mean poisonous? Do we mean like they'll make you fat and you'll get a heart attack?
No, they're
or like hey,
they're trying to kill you.
Like what's in them? Like, do we know? Like, should I not go home and eat the Thin Mints? Is that what they're in my freezer right now?
Look, I'm not going to tell you what to do. I love them. They're great.
Are you going to eat them? What if you were about to win $181 million? Would you eat them?
I'd want to live for a long time, man.
Me too. Like, the first thing I'd do is probably go see the doctor. It's like, hey, I'm rich now. Y'all got that limitless pill or whatever that I can be like the smartest and live forever or whatever? Just whatever y'all are giving Selma Hayek.
Did anyone think that the Girl Scout cookies were good for you, though?
No, but I didn't think they were going to kill me.
It's one thing if I know that they're going to give me like heart disease or raise my cholesterol. It's another if they have like plutonium in them. You know?
And those girls need that money.
Why would y'all send the most innocent of us to prison?
I was in the mall the other day. I'm glad we brought this up. Leaving the mall, right? And they had their own kiosks. 2 little girls couldn't say they're ours. Like this big. Just came up to you. I was like, just take all my money.
Yeah.
You can have all my money.
It's
all
a
the money.
Orphan Annie situation. What are you going to do? Tell her now? She's out on the streets going to sell them cookies.
Well, I'm going to give her $10 and not get the box of cookies? No.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And
the coconut ones go hard too.
One more donation, $5 donation from Dan. He says, my favorite are the oatmeal cream pies.
Oatmeal cream pies go hard. They do. Is he talking about the Girl Scout cookie or just in general? You not an oatmeal cream pie guy?
I'm good.
You'll eat Scrapple, but not oatmeal cream pies.
Scrapple is a breakfast delicacy.
One more donation, $5 donation from Karari Turner. I said that wrong, but welcome to the show. Duke will win the Natty, and SEC friends around the world will melt. I don't think we will.
It's like, look, we're like
not us.
We're like happy to be at the party now. Like we don't have to hook up with the hottest girl, like to feel better about ourselves. We're just happy y'all let us in. Like, we can't believe it. We went straight to the keg. Nobody said anything. Y'all know what I'm talking about. All right, we appreciate you guys. Make sure you check out Locker Room Talk tomorrow. We're talking about the Eagles White House visit. We're going to talk about this BYU Arizona thing and a whole lot more. So make sure you check that out. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. And like the chances of me hoping my Wi-Fi's fixed by the time I get home.
You're due for a drop.
Freak out. We're going. Yep. Ooh, gone. That one touched the sky. Damn it.